there are biological differences with people. Some people alkalize by carbohydrates and acidify by fats and proteins on their plate, eating that. And others are reversed. Sort of like left-handed, right-handed. I can't play a left-handed guitar this way. I have to play it this way.
Right. I think just sort of the high level, it's essentially a difference in how our body responds to different foods.
Welcome to Salad with a Side of Fries. I'm your host, Jenn Trepic, talking wellness and weight loss for real life. We're here to clear up the myths, misinformation, bad science, and marketing to teach you how to eat and how to cheat. Are you ready? I'm having salad with a side of fries.
Hey friend, welcome back to Salad with a Side of Fries. Happy New Year again. I'm Jenn Trepic, your host and health coach, here with you every week for Wellness Without the Weirdness. And in the new year, you may be right now at the height of your commitment level to your health. And maybe you've created a plan for yourself. Maybe you've already opted into the Healthy Vibe Tribe for 2025. If not, by the way, there's still time. You can jump in. We start January 13th. You can click the link in the episode notes, by the way, or send me a message. I'm all social media at Jenn Trepic, JENNTREPECK. Send me a message. I'll get you all the info on the Healthy Vibe Tribe. But anyway, for today, we want to offer you some insights to help you with your plan to make 2025 your healthiest year yet. And I have a wonderful guest for us. He's a respected functional medicine expert and metabolic typing coach whose mission is to restore vitality to you and the planet. With over 12,000 clients coached since 2011 and over 60,000 students enrolled in his Udemy courses, he has a wealth of knowledge to share on topics such as healing trauma, managing stress and anxiety, emotions, spirituality, weight management, metabolism, longevity, mindfulness, gut health, and overall health. You see why he and I had lots to discuss, and I'm excited for you to meet him. Please help me welcome Martin Pytela.
Hey, thank you, Jen. You make me
You're welcome.
You make me sound like a superstar.
Well, that's the goal, right? So welcome. We're thrilled to have you. And we were just talking before we clicked record that this was originally planned for later in the year. I'm thrilled that we're doing it now to start the year. So very exciting. And we'll start with your personal story, and then we'll get into all things metabolic typing. We'll do all of that after we tell our members what they're getting really quick. All right. Members, your recipe this week is for white turkey chili. Not only are chilies great this time of year, they are a super simple option to make and then make it a big batch, have it in the fridge, quick, ready to go. And then this one is also great because you can modify the recipe a little bit based on what we talk about in this week's episode. So you can do more or less of the beans, more or less of the turkey, kind of play around with the recipe. So I'm excited to send you this one. If you want this recipe, be sure you're a member. Go to glow.fm/salad with a side of fries. For just $10 a month, you get weekly recipes, a monthly article or tool, extra discounts from me and our partners, plus access to live Q&A sessions. It's a total deal. I say it all the time. It's a steal when you take advantage of the full offerings because you're going to save far more than that $10 cost. It's a no-brainer way to show yourself that your health is a priority. Plus, being a member supports this podcast and this community so we can continue to bring you new episodes and experts every single week. So remember, all you have to do is head over to glow.fm/salad with a side of fries, or just click the link in the episode notes because that's a whole lot easier. Once you're there, you click support now, enter your email and payment info, click subscribe, and you're all set. You'll get this week's recipe for the white turkey chili. Okay, Martin. So your interest in alternative health started because of mercury amalgam fillings that you received at age 25. Take us back to that time. What happened and how did that bring you to your work today?
Right. Classic story of a fallen hero who overcomes obstacles in the process, learning something that he didn't know before and decides that it's worth sharing with the world, right? I mean, most of people who end up deep down in a hole, when they power themselves out of the hole, they have plenty of energy to go quite high. Simple story. I grew up in a family. My dad was a veterinarian. We lived rural, back Central Eastern Europe. It was, really cool childhood. And I grew up believing in science and medicine. Dad and I talked about postulates and stuff like that. Well, anyway, I arrived in Canada, new job, full medical coverage, full dental coverage. And I'm showing up in the office and the guy says, "Do you have insurance?" And I said, "Yes, I do." Silly boy. I didn't know. I knew nothing, right? I grew up behind the Iron Curtain, ignorant and innocent. I had no idea how the world worked out here. So anyway, he had a diploma on the wall, white coat, the works, right? So I trusted him. I thought that he was going to do the right thing by me. And he said, "Well, we have two types of fillings. You need some. You can have white ones or the silver ones. The white ones are extra." And I said, "Well, I don't care what it looks like. Any other difference?" "No, same thing." Ha! Methyl mercury is the most toxic thing you can put in your body, especially with my genetics. I'm a poor methylator. I crashed. It was terrible. Like I had every viral thing that I picked up, it broke out. My back went out. I had plantar fasciitis, carpal tunnel syndrome, blah, 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 whatever. Just, it was horrible. So first I went to the mainstream medical. Then I got no success. So I went to the chiropractic. I got success in the sense that they would put me back together, but 3 days later, my back was out again. So I kept coming back, treat, and again, right? Then I had allergies. I went to the naturopath. I remember a doctor telling me, "Yeah, we have Sudafed." And I said, "Is that going to cure my allergies?" He said, "No, you'll be taking it for the rest of your life." That was, I think, one of the last straws. So I finally, I'm trained as a business analyst. I was working in the information technology computer business. And I finally said, I'm going to learn this. So I dove in, bought a lot of books. This was 1980s, so no internet. Read a lot, figured it out. Yes, the medical system, all of it, is not using scientific method. They say they do, but they don't. They never ask, what is the cause of this? They see a symptom and they say, for the symptom, I have a pill. Goodbye. And if they don't have a pill, all they do is just treat the pain on your way to hell. So I had this awakening and I learned how to fix me. So I fixed me. And then later I had this awakening that was year 2000. I should build a business online. I'm going to move to a small town. I'm going to stop commuting 2 hours to work, and I'm going to have a different life. And Life Enthusiast was born.
Amazing. So I just have to ask before we go on, how much of the filling choice was a function of the information that the doctor actually had versus choosing what maybe wasn't doing right by you as the patient?
I think he didn't know.
Right.
I think
Agreed.
he was trained by his school and he was told this is fine, right? Like he was a good soldier in the unit. I don't hold it against him. I don't think it was malevolent at all. I think he was just ignorant like the rest of us.
Yeah, for sure. So
Yes.
as a prelude to this whole conversation, we hear your story and how this really led you on a path to discovery and really understanding how the body works and this idea of, getting to the actual cause of the symptom versus just treating the symptoms. And that has evolved into, in the work that you do, metabolic typing. So
Right.
will you share with everybody like what that even means so that we're all sort of operating from the same place? Yeah.
Right. So this is part of my quest to discover functional medicine and then all the different bits and pieces that fall into it. Like once you start asking about what is the cause of this, then you start asking what is whatever. I found Bill Walcott, and in 2012, I got me certified as metabolic typing advisor. Anyway, it's a thing. And the understanding is this. There are biological differences with people. Some people alkalize by carbohydrates and acidify by fats and proteins on their plate, eating that. And others are reversed. Sort of like left-handed, right-handed. I can't play a left-handed guitar this way. I have to play it this way.
Right. I think just sort of the high level, it's essentially a difference in how our body responds to different foods.
Yeah, right. So Bill Wolcott put together a whole bunch of interesting things. The Ayurvedic doshas, the Chinese 5 elements, the alkaline versus acidic. What else is in there? Oh yeah, eat right for your blood type, the adamo.
Yep.
All of that is subsumed in that body of knowledge so that when you take the test now, you're given back 2 important pieces of information. One is how you alkali and acidify, and the other one is how you gain weight or lose weight.
Amazing. Before we walk through everything, right? And you just mentioned a test, right? I think that's the question going through everybody's mind is, okay, I need a test. And while there are tests that you can take online, you also say that what's more important than testing is what you already know. Will you say more on that? What do you mean by that?
Well, the test actually is a quiz, and you answer about 120 multiple choice questions. And some are physiology questions like, my ears are more pink than the rest of my face, or my shoulders are narrower than my hips, or my pupils are usually dilated, or my pupils are usually tight, or something like that. And then others will be, when I eat protein for breakfast, I feel X. And when I eat blah, blah, blah. Questions about that sort. And at the end of it, we'll just hand you back a user's manual to your body. Some people have it easy. Some people have conflicts that require very careful management to get it right.
Yeah. And I think the piece of what you're saying that's really resonating is that it's the stuff that we're probably already noticing anyway. It's just when somebody almost brings our attention to it, we realize that there's meaning behind it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is the sort of the famous story of people being hangry. Somebody offers you a Snickers bar. Well, that works only for 1/4 of the population, but that's big enough reason to build a business.
Right. For sure. For sure. So, okay, let's do this. So walk us through, metabolic types and what somebody might experience if they're each type.
Right. So some people wake up overly alkaline and some people wake up overly acidic. Here's what that feels like. The alkaline people wake up early and procrastinate. And if they get even more alkaline, they become despondent. And if they get even more alkaline, like getting out of balance into over-alkalinity, that's where depression lives. Acidity, people wake up early. They wake up in second or third gear already. Like they're just go. And they get a lot done, but they tend to be abrasive. And as you go into more acidity, you start losing your social graces. You start cutting in. And that would be interrupting people when they talk or cutting in traffic, just elbows. And then further out, anger. So anger outbursts, road rage, or that's externally referenced. If it's internally directed, then you end up with anxiety. You'll be reliving your past, going over all the things that you should have done differently, or you shouldn't have done at all, or going into future, just catastrophizing all the stuff that may happen. So that's the acidity. So now here's what happens. So if you're waking up overly alkaline, you should be eating foods that are going to bring you closer to the middle. And if you're waking up overly acidic, same story. You should eat something that's going to bring you closer to the middle. So if you are what's known as the autonomic dominant, the alkalizing vector is carbohydrate, the acidifying vector is fat and protein. If you're an oxidizer, it's reversed. So we have fast oxidizers, slow oxidizers. Fast oxidizers are the hunters. They need to eat farmer's breakfast, hunter's breakfast, steak and salad for breakfast. Cool. Whereas the slow oxidizer, they are much less efficient at converting food into energy. They need to get help. So for them, a fruit salad or some cereal type of thing is the right breakfast. So that's the example, right?
Yeah. And just to play devil's advocate for a second, kind of, what about the person who sort of learns some of these behaviors, right? Where like some of these like I used to work in hedge funds. And how I operated, being surrounded by that energy all the time is very different than how I function now.
Okay. So you're more peaceful now than back when you were driven to perform, yes?
For sure.
Yeah.
So I guess my question is like, how much of some of these behaviors are learned and how do we, in assessing ourselves? Yeah.
Well, you heard me use the word vector. It's sort of like wind, right? A vector is a thing that's pushing you in a specific direction. So you could have made yourself like totally bat crazy in that crazy environment or more resilient, depending on which direction you chose. Likewise here, let's just figure you out, right? Would you admit, are you the person that get put to sleep by carbohydrates?
Yes. Yeah.
2 drinks maximum. 3rd drink puts you to sleep, yes?
Oh, not necessarily.
Or are you the oxidizer who on consumption of alcohol becomes more and more alive and argumentative?
Funny you should bring up alcohol because we have 2 episodes coming up on alcohol. That's a harder one for me to say, honestly. I was thinking when I asked the question more in terms of what you were saying about how you function in the morning or, with the traffic kinds of things or whatever. Yeah.
Right. But what I'm talking about the influences of food, right? Alcohol is a strong carbohydrate. So when you see a party, Christmas party for all things, and people are drinking, and one group, the oxidizers, with each drink, they get louder and more disagreeable, all the way to the point of picking a fight. Whereas the people that are called autonomics, they are becoming more alkaline. So first they become jovial and friendly and like fluttery, and then they overshare and start telling things that they wish they hadn't said. And finally, they just start crying or go to sleep.
I'm laughing because a friend of mine, one of my best friends from college and early years after college, she would cry every time we went out.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Like without fail, at the end of the night, she was crying.
She's an autonomic, I swear.
Amazing.
Okay. So some people are more affected, others less so. To give an example, right? Like if your stance is the sumo wrestler, your center of gravity is low, it's hard to push you out of balance. Whereas if you stand on one foot with your eyes closed, it will take just a teeny amount of energy for me to knock you out of balance. Likewise, we have some people genetically who are more sensitive and move quicker from one side to the other, whereas others are not so much, right? So the nervy types, right, are the ones that are affected more.
Yeah. So walk us through more of essentially what I'm hearing you say is that depending on our type, right?
Yeah.
We would want to shift the balance of macronutrients in our approach.
Beautifully said. Yes. Right. Yeah. So if you are the person who's already anxious and is an autonomic, eating something that's loaded with fat and protein is going to send you right over the deep end into anxiety. Don't do it. You can test on it, right? Like we can all do a simple test. One is called the carbo push and the other one's the fat push. The fat push, like take a spoonful of coconut oil or olive oil. If you want to take it with some vegetables, go for it. That's just lots of fat and it's going to push you in one direction. The vector points one way or the other way. And then the opposite would be something carby, like a banana with a glass of orange juice or 2 shots of whiskey, take your choice. And it will push you in the opposite direction of what the fat will do. Take notes. After that, life becomes a lot more understandable, especially people who suffer from this swinging, right? Where one day they are Mr. Jekyll, next day they are Mr. Hyde or Dr. Hyde. No, I forget the names.
But yeah.
Dr. Jekyll,
Dr.
Mr.
Jekyll,
Hyde.
Mr. Hyde, yeah.
Right. But one was alkaline, the other one was acidic.
And so what might that look like? Like you mentioned choosing different things for breakfast.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Right. Say it again, because I can imagine people listening are like, wait, I can't keep track. So say it one more time as far as how we start our day. Yeah.
Fats and proteins are one choice and carbohydrates are the other choice. So for example, myself, I'm the sympathetic dominant. I'm an early riser, very excitable. I talk fast, blah, 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 all of that. That's acidic. And if I eat fat stuff, I become an absolute jackass. So I give myself a fruit salad for breakfast and things are rosy. I start with a smoothie and it has blueberries and apples and and chlorella and blah, blah stuff in it. And it's very calming to me. Now, if I were an opposite, if I were the parasympathetic dominant, I would make myself totally depressed doing that. That's the point, right?
Yep.
So one type should be eating the German breakfast. 2 eggs, 1 slab of ham with, I don't know, lots of whipping cream, whatever you like. Coffee with cream or stick of butter, right? Bulletproof coffee works awesomely well for people who need fat to feel better.
And then do you notice that things the rest of the day have as much impact as the things in the morning, or it's really how we start the day and set ourselves up?
Okay, I need to drag in the other part that we learn doing metabolic typing, which is the endocrine dominance.
Okay, really quick, let's take this moment to pause to highlight our partner for this episode, and then we'll do all the endocrine dominance stuff. Big thanks to Snap Cleaning Products for supporting Salad with a Side of Fries. Make household and industrial cleaning a snap with their eco-friendly, economical, multi-purpose Snap products. Snap's concentrated, multi-purpose formulas perform light to industrial strength jobs all in one bottle. Snap products give you the cleaning power of a variety of cleaners, saving you time, money, and valuable storage space. And Snap products were developed with the environment in mind, using plant-based ingredients that are biodegradable, phosphate-free, non-toxic, and bottled in recyclable containers. So we're talking about metabolic typing. We're about to talk about endocrine dominance. And I think it's important to recognize that chemicals in our modern world, especially those in our cleaning products, can really be endocrine disruptors. And so that's part of why I really like Snap. The triple enzyme laundry detergent actually breaks down stains to remove them from your clothes because everything's made of enzymes. It's just $13.95 for 40 ounces and does up to 80 loads of laundry. Truly, it is free of chemicals and additives. The Snap dishwashing liquid is like magic. The key here is to let everything soak. So because it's made of enzymes, it takes a second. So fill the sink with water, some of the dishwashing liquid, put everything in the sink, let it soak, and then they just wipe clean. And the dishwashing liquid is only $11.95 for a 32-ounce bottle. Maybe you want to upgrade your whole household cleaning products. You can do that with the Snap Pack for just $89.95. And all of these prices are before your discount. Because you're a Salad with a Side of Fries listener, you get 10% off and free shipping. So simply text the word CLEAN, CLEAN, to 844-947-4846. You'll receive the link and coupon code right to your phone. Again, simply text the word CLEAN, CLEAN, to 844-947-4846 to try Snap. In particular, it's that triple enzyme laundry detergent, or even just the Snap Pack, the whole thing, for 10% off and free shipping. This is a toll-free number. Standard text and data rates may apply. Okay, Martin, back to you. Let's talk about endocrine dominance.
So before I even get to that, I want to count to 5. The 5 things you should never, ever put in your mouth. Refined flour, salt, seed oils, dairy for sure. It's not refined, but it's pasteurized and homogenized. Just don't do it. I missed one thing. I don't remember what that is. Sorry. Sometimes,
all good.
And this is a sign of inflammation. And I am not perfect, right? Like I am a cracked jar. Like I was damaged almost 50 years ago. So I rebuilt myself to a good degree, but I still have moments where, the inflammation takes off and I just don't remember the 5th thing. It's just normal for me. And I'm still working on it. Well, anyway, so let me talk about the endocrine, which is, we have 4 dominances: thyroid, adrenal, pituitary, and women can also be ovarian dominant. All men are 100% testosterone dominant. There's no hesitation on that. But in women, only some are. Well, to highlight that, so the estrogen dominant women, estrogen is stimulated by hot food. So Tabasco sauce or hot chilies and that sort of thing will actually, if you really like that and use it a lot, will drive estrogen, which will exaggerate your feminine characteristics. So you can get the Kardashian look without spending thousands on operations. Yeah, bigger hips. Like you'll be size 2 from waist up and size 6 from waist down. That's how it usually ends up. But anyway, the more common ones are the thyroid types are tempted by carbohydrates and gain weight eating carbs. And the posture-wise, they tend to have slender arms, slender legs, like they can usually put their hand around their wrist easily or around an ankle even. Whereas the adrenal dominant, they tend to be preferring savory foods. Like they couldn't care less about cake or donuts. And they gain weight with fats. And they gain weight not just on the belly and hips, they gain weight all over, shoulders, chest, just barrel, just the deep chest, whatever. And then the third one, the pituitary, they tend to be tempted by creamy things like ice cream or whipping cream or cheesecake, stuff like that. And their health food, if you can believe it, is organ meats, heart, tongue, lungs, liver, that sort of thing. And they gain weight all over. They tend to be built like a Cabbage Patch doll. Their ankles are fat. Their knees are about the same size as they look blubbery, which is not the most fashionable body type, but there you are. They are usually the smart people in the room. Like they tend to have a larger head, curly hair, knocked knees. It's a classic nerd look.
And so that's pituitary dominant.
That's the pituitary dominant, yeah.
Yeah. And so you mentioned that these different organs of our endocrine system, our hormones, right, are driving things. And you mentioned that that's driving our cravings or the things that we desire in terms of foods. How else does that play out?
Well, it gives you the physical appearance, right? Like if you look at me, I'm your typical thyroid type. A weightlifter or a linebacker would be an adrenal type. I'm struggling for an example of a pituitary guy.
Well, we kind of walked through that.
Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah.
So my deal in life is that if you put a cake in front of me, I'll eat it. It's just the way I go. And that's how I gain weight. So I have to watch it. Because if I overdo it, if I overindulge, I'll end up just gaining weight. And it starts right on the belly. So the beer belly or the belly fat, the pregnant looking gut, that's the bane of the thyroid type that's abusing carbs.
And so how do we put all this together between the endocrine dominance piece, like which organ of our endocrine system is driving things?
Yeah. So you could be lucky or not so lucky, right? So myself being a thyroid, I gain weight on starch. Also, starch for me, because I'm sympathetic dominant, is the thing that takes me out of being ornery and unpleasant. So I have to fairly narrowly watch the line between being reasonable and gaining too much weight. So we have some people, like let's just say that you're born as a fast oxidizer and a thyroid type. You have it made. You're on a keto diet for your life and you're balanced, happy, and skinny, gorgeous looking all day long. Well, so that's some people. I don't know. The society decided this century that the thyroid type is the desirable. All of the Victoria's Secret models are thyroid types, every one of them.
Well, this is the piece that I'm sort of getting stuck on is while these approaches might translate into a physical shape or a body type, that works for fashion or, our desired look. Talk to us about translating this into health, because we also know that, blood sugar balance and a lot of these elements are critical to metabolic health. And that doesn't necessarily mean one size or one shape.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So the thyroid type will be less stable. So we'll be more likely to have swings in the blood glucose level. Therefore, we'll need to be more careful in portions and doses. The adrenal types, they're built like a tank. They can coffee for breakfast and steak for dinner, no trouble. So it's like that. Some of us are more gifted by nature to have it easy in this modern society. If I was born 500 years ago, I wish I were an adrenal type because I could go hunting. I could take a 12-mile walk in no big deal. For me, the thyroid types don't have as deep an energy reserve. So we tend to be good sprinters, but we don't last very long. Everything has its advantage and disadvantage. So trying to make big sweeping statements about it is hard. What I would like to say is this. when you learn and figure out your type, you can work with it or against it. When you know what's going on, when you know the two figures, you will have it easier to be at peace. Have your emotions in balance, have satiety worked out, not have to snack in between and not be having cravings and the likes. All of that goes away when you balance it. And then when you figure out how you gain weight and lose weight, well, you have to stay in the lane. Like for myself, if I put myself on a keto diet, I'll be built really well, but I'll be miserable doing it. Unpleasant.
I think that brings up a really interesting point of sometimes the choice that might get us to the aesthetic isn't necessarily the choice that actually brings us, peace and joy and some of the things that we're really looking for. So how do we balance that, especially as we sit here at the beginning of 2025, right? Like, how do we, for everybody listening, really take that on and make those choices and allow us to help guide them this year?
Right. Well, if you can spare $97, go get the test. It's at our website, and that's a shortcut to knowing what you should know. You can do it without the test. You can just follow this conversation and figure out how you gain weight and how you lose weight by experimenting. And you do the same thing by experimenting as I described it. Do a carbo push, do a fat push, see what happens. And you figure yourself out. You can do it. Once you know, you cannot unknow.
Right. Right. Then the trick is just to listen to what you know.
Yeah. Then you just follow, right? As I say, if you want to gain weight as a thyroid type, as me, eat lots of donuts. Or don't, because it's going to really wreck your health, because wheat these days is practically a poison.
Right.
That's another story, right?
Right, exactly. I'll tell everybody, go back to our episode, Ancient Wheat versus Modern Wheat, and that'll sort of...
That one.
Yes.
That point is so important to get.
Awesome. All right. I think that's a good place to pause for the moment. Let's do our rapid fire off topic questions. And then, if we hear back from everybody and they want more on this, we can always dig deeper.
Sure.
Okay, great. All right. First question. What's the best thing you've done for your health this week? What's the naughtiest thing you've done related to your health this week? Because, balance.
All right. The best thing is that I have consistently every day done 20 squats, 20 push-ups. I don't know what else, the rebounder. Oh yeah, I have a rebounder, so I do a routine on a rebounder. So, stagnation is the enemy of us modern folk, because I spend a lot of time in front of the screen, and I
Don't we all?
to make sure that I do movement. So that's the best thing by far. And the naughty thing that I have done, I'm going to let you down.
Oh, that's all right.
I don't have a naughty thing.
I love it. All right. If you weren't a metabolic typing coach and founder of Life Enthusiast, what would you do?
Well, I could have been a stockbroker.
Yeah. Favorite book on any topic other than your area of expertise, or you could give us a fiction book.
Oh, God. I have loved since my young years Robert Heinlein and his books. He was classified as a science fiction writer, but he was really a philosopher. And I don't know, pick something. The Moon is a Harsh Mistress is one book that he wrote. Friday, which was about a girl named Friday, was another one. Awesome books. Look up Robert Heinlein.
Okay. If you could cure one ailment, disease, or sickness, what would it be?
If I could cure one thing, metabolic dysregulation.
1,000%. If you were a superhero, what would be your superpower?
I love learning. My superpower is learning and being able to explain things to others. So I would be, what would I be called? Mr. No?
I like it. What's your biggest pet peeve?
Money in politics.
Good one. All right, this is the last one. In your opinion, what's the next frontier in wellness?
Well, we're upon it. We now have, God willing, when we're recording it, we don't know it yet, but maybe, just maybe, Bobby Kennedy will be in charge of the HHS and all of that business that goes with it. We will, God willing, separate food from drugs. The FDA is the worst abomination of all. So I'm hoping that they will find that drugs should be regulated separately from food.
I agree with you on the separation of how those things work. Yeah. All right. Martin Pytela, thank you so much for being here. Tell everybody how to connect with you, where to learn more, all the good stuff.
Okay, it's life-enthusiast.com. And on YouTube, it's LIFENTCO. And on Telegram, it's also Life and Co. And on Twitter, it's also Life and Co. I guess X.com now.
Yeah, for sure. We'll put links to everything in the episode notes also. Just thank you again. Appreciate you sharing all of your expertise with us.
Thank you.
All right, friends. On Friday, in this week's Nutrition Nugget, we're talking about creatine. So I've been getting a lot of questions about it lately. It used to be super popular. Like I remember people talking about it when I was in high school. And then there was like no talk about it for a long time. A year ago, a little over a year ago, I started using a protein powder every morning that has some creatine in it. And then, like I said, the last couple of months, people have been asking. So I figured now is as good a time as any. Let's talk about it. So that's this week's bonus episode Nutrition Nugget on Friday. Be sure wherever you're listening, click the plus sign or the follow button, and then your app will alert you when it goes live. Well, as always, everybody, I'm your host, Jenn Trepeck. Connect with me on Instagram or all social media. I am at Jenn Trepeck, JENNTREPECK. Website is asaladwithasideofries.com. Pick your platform, send a message. I'd love hearing from you. Your ideas, your questions, your takeaways. This is also the easiest way to learn more about working with me as your health coach. Martin Pytela, thank you again for being here, joining us this week.
Thank you. My pleasure.
Absolutely. And friends, if you are not already, join our membership program by going to glow.fm/salad with a side of fries. This shows your support for this podcast, this community, and most importantly, your health. You'll get this week's recipe for the white turkey chili. So until next week, remember, what you know about your body can be just as powerful as the tests that we get. So notice what foods help you, what helps you feel your best, and prioritize those.
Well, friends, that's it for today's episode of Salad with a Side of Fries. Congratulations for making yourself and your health a priority. Thanks so much for joining us. Be sure to click subscribe or follow on your favorite podcast platform. Share us with a friend, and we'll be back next week. Always remember, you deserve it, and you are worth it. Happy healthy.